We've got a lot to talk about today, Simmers, so strap in for this episode of the Simmers Digest, where we dive in to all things Sims 4 news related. So if you want to see more content like this, as well as like mod reviews and our Let's Plays on our live streams, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, first for my modders, for my Simmers who love mods, good news is all Lot 51 mods, including the core library, are compatible with the patch. I know there was some problems going on where people weren't able to get their core library working, and I honestly think it was just due to a lot of broken script mods. That's what I've been hearing from a lot of Simmers, that there's a lot of script mods that are currently broken, so please go through and sort, do the 50-50 method with your mods to make sure that you are playing with, mods that are working. A lot of Simmers have also said that inserting your script files one by one have been, the best way to reintroduce it into the game. But I know it says August 12th, 2025, but it does indeed work. But the main thing is, if you are going to use the pack selection feature, which has had a lot of tense conversations within the Simmers community. A lot of people are not happy about this feature because it has destroyed the game. But it says the feature is used. You must restart your game to get back into a safe state for the core library to run. So I would not use the core library and the pack selection feature together. But once you can get it back in that safe state, you can in turn use core library. So some changes will say you don't need a restart, but do it anyways. Just to be safe, I wanted to put that PSA out there. Just go through your mod folders, figure out what is broken, go to Scarlett's mod list. I will link it in this video so that you can go into the description, click on it. It's literally a mod list that'll tell you what's broken, what is compatible, what's hasn't been updated in a while. It's a great website, and there are a lot of script mods that are not working, which in turn people have kind of put the blame on Lot 51 and XML Injector. I've had no problems with those two mods. So anyways, moving on to some more Sims 4 news. So if you've watched my live streams, you probably already know what I'm talking about right here. We went through it on August 26th when it was posted about. EA had to release an official statement on the Sims 4 save file issues, and as well as For Rent. I'm not shocked that these two things are in the same sentence, because we've known for a while that For Rent has caused a lot of save file corruptions, and they've been trying to work on this for a while, and I think For Rent came out December 7th of 2023. So this has been like this for like 2 years now of just problems. Almost 2 years, not entirely 2 years. Anyways, so it says that EA is finally breaking the silence on the Sims 4 save file. I'm going to kind of like go through this a little faster because we kind of already went through this, but it's mainly, problems with like the loading issues, and also it has been heavily like multiplied with the residential rental lot features and stuff like that for like the issues. So it is causing players to lose like months of their save game progress without a proper way of reverting back to your saves, which brings up, please, Simmers, I don't care if you play with mods, I don't care if you don't play with mods. This should be something that every Simmer does, is back up your saves file, okay? Whether it's on a hard drive, whether it's just backed up somewhere. So if this does happen to you, it would be better to lose like a couple Sims 4 days in your gameplay rather than losing your entire save game, or even worse, having a save file get corrupted and there's no way you can fix it, because once it's sort of corrupted, there's no going back. So I put this PSA out there. Please back up your save files. Literally, it'll cost you so much less stress when it comes to updating, because at least you know that you have a backup. They basically said that they have fixed about 29 community reported issues on For Rent and have 37 currently under investigation. 11 required more info from players, and that 2 of these issues are related to save file concerns. But the part that got us was that they were under investigation. These problems are under investigation. It sounds like the FBI is coming for these problems. I mean, I'm glad they're going and actually fixing them, but it's just a little crazy that this has been out for almost 2 years and still we're having the same problem from the very day it got released. Anyways, so the problem is, again, the loading, the in-game loading. Like, some players are getting these like white screens. Some players are getting like their games that are crashing. Players are reporting that when they load into the game, there are having like lots and houses like disappear in their saves, like featuring a large number of the rental units. So yeah, there's a lot of problems. My best bet is just to maybe not play with For Rent, which I know sucks because it is one of those packs that I personally love the idea of. But if it's going to cause this many issues, probably not the best thing to play. So anyways, the main issues were the neighboring builds are missing, build/lots disappearing, furniture's floating with builds missing, and then of course the loading problems where people were just not being able to get into their game, or it was crashing, or they just were stuck on this like, white screen. And of course, the August 19th, 2025 update also caused the unable to load lots like after, but I feel like this kind of happened to everyone, to be fair. But anyways, they came out with a new like report regarding For Rent. This was posted on August 26th. So today is August 29th. So if you are a simmer who doesn't fully understand what is happening with this corruption, we're going to go through this together. So basically, we know that this has been a hot topic for a while with a lot of simmers. And for me personally, I, again, love the idea of this pack, but it hasn't really worked. And kind of going back to, the history of the save corruption, as previously mentioned, the concept of save or game corruption like isn't new. The Sims 2 has had an infamous history with corruption. If you played that, and its own set of misinformed reasons for corruption alongside it. Players online often touted deleting deceased Sims gravestones as a reason for a save file corruption. However, this issue is much deeper than that. The Sims 4 saves all of your information in one file. The Sims 2, on the other hand, saves every bit of information about a save into its own file. So the Sims populating the world, their own file, the lots in the neighborhood, they have their own file too. One corrupted file can cause the entire save to become unplayable over time. A little history lesson for us on that. Anyways, while not new, we obviously know that it's not just For Rent that has caused the corruption problems in the game, but the Sims 4 For Rent expansion pack, due to the pack's features amplifying the issues, the Sims 4 Rent adds the residential lot type to the game, allowing players to split the single lot we know into 6 individual units so that other Sims, or maybe your playable Sims, can rent out that, For Rent space. So basically, and unaided by cheats, this could mean up to 48 Sims living on a single lot. So basically, the Sim data, lot information, and object count can all contribute to the risk of corruption because you're dealing with, 48 Sims. If you did cheat it, you could have more, but basically, having 48 Sims on a lot is a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of object counts, as we went over. Anyways, the issue of corruption isn't a new one. Obviously, we know this. The save game corruptions have been an issue plaguing the game since launch, which has brought a lot of issues for simmers because these have been problems that have been since day one, not within the past few years, and you would think by now there would be a fix for it, but there is not. And as the game continues to grow and save files need to write more data, the issue persists and amplifies. So players may run into various error codes, such as the error code 140 caused by outdated mods, or error code 111, which is caused by rabbits from cottage living. You can find an exhaustive list of known error codes over on this website. I'm not going to click it. I don't want to know how many errors we have in this game. But I will say it is frankly annoying that this issue is just going to continue. And I've got even probably more great news for you guys at the end of this video regarding the new roadmap and what we're getting with that, because I just know that there are a lot of simmers that are very worked up, rightfully so, since this last update, and a lot of simmers are calling for the game to be fixed or there to be some sort of update to fix the persisting issues. Hence, one of them is the save game corruptions. So this is only going to intensify as more packs get released, and it just seems like now it's very obvious that the Sims are just sort of shoving these issues on the backseat and like throwing these expansion packs, these kits, these like new events out for us as if we're going to completely forget that the game's broken. I could do a whole TED talk on that. But anyways, what does corruption look like? So just to go over some of the symptoms that can happen is that lots outside the active lot will appear empty or as the default lot that's shipped with the world, and the game refuses to load, aka like the error codes, endless loading screens, disappearing households and lots. That's what we talked about the last post from August 26th. This is now the 29th, What causes the corruption? I'm going to go through what the possible causes are. Long-running saves. As file sizes grow, the likelihood of corruption increases. The more lots, sims, relationship objects, photos, events, milestones, etc., the more data needs to be saved. That obviously sucks because a lot of people, obviously play The Sims to have those long-running saves. That can be one of them. But the updates that patch existing bugs may inadvertently cause new issues within the game. This isn't obvious. I say every time when the game gets an update, there's like 20 other bugs that get, resurfaced or unsurfaced, and that will cause corruption too. A lot of simmers have noted from this last update that their Sims files got corrupted because of it. Running outdated mods on newer saves can cause corruption. That's why I stress so much to you guys to update your mods, because we don't want any outdated mods in there. Similarly, running newer mods on outdated versions of the game can also cause corruption. That's another important thing to note, to have everything updated. But if you don't want to play on a newer version of The Sims, make sure you're running that version of the mod with that version of The Sims 4 that you're running. As well as forced quitting the game or shutting your system down while saving can cause only partial data to be saved. Too many residential rental lots can inflate a save file size, leading to errors, and multiple lots with too many objects, less too much use of the move objects cheat. Every simmer uses bb.moveObjects on. So you're telling me every time I use bb.moveObjects on, I'm ruining my game? It sounds about right. Anyways, is The Sims 4 for rent to blame? This question, I don't think it is. As they stated above, it has been, corrupted since the day this game got released. I think there are packs that definitely add, more of the blame to it. It causes more of the problem than maybe other packs. So after the expansion launched, players began sharing the reports of the long-running saves suddenly becoming unstable, failing to load, or breaking beyond repair. So while For Rent didn't create the problem, like I just said, its timing and the scope of its new feature, it might be the prime suspect, and I understand why people would probably be blaming For Rent, but since 2014, when the game got released, it has had problems, okay? At the heart of the issue is how much For Rent adds to the game already. Fragile framework. The expansion introduced multi-unit residential rental lot types, allowing players to have up to 99 units per save file, adding to the amount of save data that needs to be written for players who have been running that same legacy family or the long-running saves for years. This extra weight often becomes the tipping point. Okay, so this isn't without precedent. Other expansion packs have disestablished saves in the past, including The Sims 4 Get to Work, in which players experience crashes and errors. See, it's not the only problem. For Rent is not the one to blame. It could look like a suspect. It is not the only pack to have broken the game. So it's important to remember that, guys, all right? The For Rent is not to blame. Anyways, how can you prevent corruption? Create new saves. Don't overwrite saves. Go to menu, save as, then click add new save. This way you have backups and can play rotationally. You can also create backups, so copy your Sims 4 saves folder, the document Electronic Arts, The Sims 4 saves, and save it either locally on your PC/Mac or on a cloud storage. Update your mods in CC before installing any new update, which is why I always tell you guys to just take out your mod folder, because that way if you update your game, your mod folder is already out, so you can update those mods as the updates come in, as well as your CC. Update the game. Some players choose not to update their game. However, you must make sure to not install mods intended for the latest version, as this can cause corruption. That's why I always say to also test the mods as well after updating them in just a random save file. And then build/download wisely. Some builders on the gallery don't optimize their builds with the intent of it being playable. This can lead to a large object count, all of which the game has to save. Try playing with lots that are optimized for gameplay and that are routable for the Sims. You're probably asking, when will this be fixed? And I don't know what to tell you, but they did say, as previously, established, there's no one reason for a save being corrupted. Only reasons for its acceleration is what we've talked about above. So again, we talked about this a little bit, about what they fixed and what they haven't. It is going to be a constant threat, the corruption of the Sims, unless they really do something about it. But the good news is that with careful habits such as rotating saves, regular backups, updating mods, and cautious plays, players can significantly reduce the risk of losing years of progress. And that kind of wraps that TED Talk up, okay? Now on to some other news that I'm sure we're all gonna be happy about on the topic of, expansion packs and how sometimes they bring in more problems, and how we recently got an update that Simmers were not happy about. It is time for the September to December roadmap, and that is right, guys, we are getting a expansion pack. It is now, I'm just gonna say, I think it's confirmed. Okay, I think there are multiple sources confirming this, and we should on Tuesday probably get an official announcement from The Sims. But until then, let me show you what I know. Again, this comes straight from the source of the Sims community. Thank you, the Sims community. I love you all so much. But the Sims 4 adventure awaits and next roadmap confirmed in a new leak. Now, I made a video about this last week, I'm pretty sure, talking about how this could be a potential leak for us. And it seems as though this is now a leak. So it says, last night the official EA app program updated its The Sims 4 store page with a new segment talking about the next Sims 4 roadmap, captured by Evan Lee 24 on X. The newest leak talks about an adventurous new expansion pack, several new kits, and a limited time event all about childhood. So let's see what this leak cover is. I actually tried to pull this up on my EA app, but I couldn't find it. But this is what it looks like. So this is our new roadmap. So it says, however, we know by the URL that the official name of this Sims 4 roadmap is called Escape ? Or Escapade. And I'd really like to escape all of these problems in The Sims, but I can't. Anyways, thanks to the EA app leak, we now also know that the Sims 4 limited time event starting September 23rd, sometime around that time, is related to childhood. So I'm actually quite interested to see what items we'll get for that event. But anyways, we've already gone through the roadmap on last week's video, but I'll go through it very quickly. September 4th, Adventure Awaits EP reveal. September 4th is Tuesday. And then September 10th, The Sims 4 Awaits EP gameplay trailer. September 23rd, that event begins, and we have another base game update. October 2nd, the EP gets launched. Then on the 9th, The Sims 4 Autumn Apparel kit is released. I can only assume this is a Create-A-Sim kit. November 4th, the new Sims 4 event ends, which they will probably extend until December 4th. And then we get another base game update. And then we get a new Sims 4 creator kits, which I would assume that that's also a build kit and then a Create-A-Sim kit or cast. Then December 2nd, we get a Sims 4 base game update. So that's a total of 3 base game updates, 5 kits if I've counted correctly, because actually, no, let me back up. No, I think it is 5, because on December 4th, it says the new Sims 4 kits, so I could only entail that would probably be 2, maybe 2, 3. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards the 2, because there's no way they should be releasing 6 kits. But you know what? Never say never. And I don't want to put that out there. I will gladly just take the 5 kits. I don't need 6 kits in one roadmap. But I don't know. It's just I'm not going to lie to you all. I'm scared for these 3 base game updates. Everything else sounds fine. I'll take kits. I'll take a new expansion pack, even though it might break my game. Hopefully not. 3 base game updates? I don't know if I can do it again. I don't know if I could sit through that again. I don't know if I could go through 3 more base game updates. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. Anyways. However, it does seem that we've gotten a first look at the new expansion pack. Now, it's not a lot, okay, but it seems like there was a render of the EP cover for the expansion pack. So it seems like they got some archery. They've got, this kind of hints to imaginary friends from what I read before I decided to film this video. But it basically says from the cover, we can speculate that the next Sims 4 expansion pack will feature a new world and natural springs, archery, and possibly imaginary friends. Now, I gotta rant to you guys for a second. I really do. It says natural springs, and I swear, if we get another world that looks similar to all the other worlds, I'm gonna lose it, okay? By this, I mean, I just feel like we have a lot of worlds in The Sims that literally look the same, but just in different fonts and just different themes for what the world's based off of. We know that The Sims base off their worlds from different cultures. So from NS Green, I think that was based off of Scotland. So my only thing is I just really wish that it is a world that looks like we haven't gotten it before. I can only hope that that is the case, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Obviously, I don't know anything that's going to happen, but as in the Sims 4 expansion pack name Adventure Awaits, I guess I will have to await that adventure to see what the map looks like, but it seems like it is $40 USD. I don't know about the other currencies, but I mean, that is typically the price for expansion packs. So I heard something that it might be a higher price, but I'm glad it stayed at $40 because we don't know how good this pack is yet. But I'm not going to say anything because I don't know any like information on it, only the facts that we know the roadmap. We've seen a brief, cover art page for it. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Simmers Digest. I know this video was a little bit long, but if you did enjoy it, please leave a like, comment down below what your thoughts on all of this are. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure that subscribe button down below. And with all that being said, happy Friday, happy simming, and I will see you all later.